Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about Kuryakyn Footpegs for Harley. You should be checking out a set of Kuryakyn Footpegs if you want to change up the look of your bike or possibly change where your feet are actually landing on your motorcycle. These things are currently being made for Harley exclusive applications. However, metric guys, you should be aware that there's lots and lots of adapters out there to make these things work. So just because it's labeled as for a Harley doesn't mean these can't easily wind up on a metric motorcycle. Vic guys, pay attention as well because there's a couple things out there Kuryakyn offers specifically for you. Installation on these are pretty easy. You're looking at one beard or BSD or beard scale of difficulty. Just a little bit of wrenching knowledge and some basic tools should get you on the road to having some Kuryakyn pegs on your motorcycle. Let's get started. Kuryakyn's been making foot pegs for a really long time, and they're all really decent foot pegs. Kuryakyn's main thing is rubberizing their foot pegs. So what you get with a Kuryakyn foot peg is not only good adhesion, your boots are actually going to stick well to your pegs, but you're also going to get some vibration, some isolation, a little bit of shock absorption through your foot pegs. Those of you guys who are running solid mount pegs know that you can take quite a beating, especially if you're going over pavement that's not in great shape. Kuryakyn aims to put an end to that. Now I'm going to show you a smattering of what Kuryakyn has in their line. Now you should know that their catalog is very extensive. So if you don't see something up here you love, definitely check out the product page and you're going to see a lot more options than what you see up here. Now given that these things are reasonably universal for most late model HDs, you should know that just about everything you're going to see probably will fit your bike if you're on an air-cooled Harley. Let's kick them off. We're looking down here, we're starting things off with the ISO peg. The ISO peg is an old favorite. These things are a classic. I really like the ISO peg because this is a rebuildable peg. These rubber inserts can be had aftermarket. You can get additional rubber pegs. You don't have to throw these pegs away when the rubber wears out. You can see how thick and beefy these things are, and what that means is you're going to get, again, a lot of that absorption. If you're coming over a bunch of bumps, you're not going to get the beating on your boots. It also helps to isolate you from the vibration of the engine. That's especially important for those of you guys on FX Softails who might have still a solid mounted motor. Those vibrations can come through on a long trip. They really can wear you out a little bit. ISO pegs are going to keep your feet from going numb. They look great and they really do match well too with the ISO series of grips. These are a perennial seller and I'm pretty sure it's because they work well and they look fantastic. Let's slide on down here. You can see we have the ultra slim pilot pegs. Pilot pegs are going to be a nice option for those of you guys who have a bike that's kind of unobtrusive, a little on the smaller side. I'm thinking again, you guys on Dynas, smaller sporties, where a big bulky foot peg can look a little bit goofy. These things are very slim, very understated, but again, still you're getting that rubber in here, so it's going to give you good adhesion, you're going to be able to stick to your foot pegs, and these things are also going to, again, provide just a little bit of shock absorption as well. It's, again, a very basic peg. For those of you guys who are looking to upgrade, get something that looks custom without going all, full hog on something that's going to be a full-blown, larger foot peg setup. Moving on down here, you can see we have switchblades. So switchblades are pretty nifty. I really like these because the switchblade actually looks like a normal foot peg most of the time. It's just slightly larger than your factory foot peg, but that thing does actually flip out. So if you imagine this being on the left side of the bike, what this stirrup does is actually gives you another place to put your heel. So those of you guys on foot pegs, you know that those things originated because they were for guys looking to shed weight. They didn't want the big footboards on their bike. They wanted better ground clearance and they wanted to cut some weight down. And the answer was foot pegs. The problem is foot pegs aren't necessarily great for long haul. So what the switchblades allow you to do is actually get some long haul capability out of your bike without forcing you to have a dorky sort of old guy bike. These will keep your bike looking sporty, but you can still kick out these stirrups when you're on a long haul and you need a little bit more comfort. So let's slide on down here. You can see here we have a set of Longhorns. These might be the most versatile product up here. I feel like these are custom made for the guy who's riding around on a touring bike who needs to change his foot position. So you can see these things actually have a clamp on here. That clamp is meant to attach to a crash bar. Now because of the way this thing is designed with the offset and the extension on here, you can actually run these in 3 different positions. So if you imagine this as being on the right side of the bike, if you're a taller rider, you could throw these on your crash bar and you could kick way out. Again, great for you tall guys. Now you can also flip this in if you're of average height. This will allow you to throw this thing onto your crash bar and just, if you, again, medium height fella, this is going to be the thing to use. There's also a third position here. If you swing this back out, for those of you shorter riders, you're going to get, you're going to be able to bring your highway pegs way in for you. This really is a versatile piece, especially for those of you who are looking for better comfort on your motorcycle and you're not necessarily an average shape or size human. These are going to give you a little bit more flexibility. Rounding things out here, you can see we have a set of flip blades. So these are probably the hardest ones to describe without actually having them on the bike. Hopefully you guys can bear with me a little bit. If you will imagine a floorboard like we have here on the Street Glide, the right side floorboard, these actually bolt up underneath the floorboard and they actually kick out. So for those of you who don't necessarily like your floorboard position, these puppies will kick out and give you an additional spot to rest your feet. The good thing about that is that, most floorboards, I think everybody thinks of floorboards as sort of being a forward. It's not a true forward. For those of you who really do like that couched out position, you like to have your feet far in front of you, a floorboard equipped Harley doesn't necessarily offer that. It really is sort of a compromise between the mid and the forward position. When you go with a set of the flip blades, it lets you get that couched out position with your feet way far in front of you. I know a lot of you guys really like that lazy boy recliner feel, and you can get it with a set of flip blades. The thing that's awesome about these is, again, they're super unobtrusive. They tuck underneath your floorboard. People don't even know they're there until you wind up cracking them out there, and then you can jump on your bike, kick way out, and cruise down the highway in comfort. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Kuryakyn has a bunch of stuff. This really is just a smattering. These are some of the really cool ones that stand out to us. We see a lot of riders who tend to fall in love with one of these products or another. We wanted to introduce them to you, but there's other stuff out there that Kuryakyn's making that's just as cool as this. Check out their product page. Now, when it comes to installation, I mentioned that these are one-bearders, and that is entirely true. Typically, you're not going to need very much in the way of tools to install these. It's a very easy installation. Stuff like the Pilot will bolt right into your factory clevises. That's about as easy as it gets. You can just pop them right in, and most of you should be down the road in 15 or 20 minutes. Some of the other stuff, like the Longhorns here, might take just a little bit of fiddling. The actual bolting up process isn't that bad at all, but it is going to take you a little bit of testing and riding to really dial in and fine-tune where you like the position of them. However, I think it's time well invested because you're going to be comfortable. I really like some of the stuff that Kuryakyn has brought out. This styling maybe isn't necessarily for me, but the function of these things is absolutely awesome, especially when you look at all this thick rubber all over this stuff, and you consider the fact that it's really going to make you more comfortable on a motorcycle. Now, my opinion is not the only game in town. Click the info button, check out what some other riders who are rocking Kurypegs on their bike have to say about them. If you're hung up with an installation or a fitment snafu, get in touch with one of our gear geeks. CS at RevZilla.com. You can always give us a jingle on the telling bone. 877-792-9455. I'm Lemmy. I'm out of here.